Hello, today we're going to be doing a review on the book Freshwater by Akweke Emezi. This book came out in 2018 and I believe it's her first novel. The plot of this book is Ada has always been unusual. As an infant in southern Nigeria, she's a source of deep concern to her family. Her parents successfully prayed her into existence, but something must have gone awry. As young Ada becomes a troubled child, prone to violent fits of anger and grief. But Ada turns out to be more than just volatile. Born with one foot on the other side, she begins to develop separate selves. When Ada travels to America for college, a traumatic event crystallizes the selves into something more powerful. As Ada fades into the background of her own mind, and these alters, now protective, now hedonistic, move into control, Ada's life spirals in a dangerous direction. This book is a story of Obanje. For those that are Nigerian or African, we've heard about Obanje and Bikus, things like that. Spirits that are born to die, meaning that they come into a family for mischievous reasons, but they have no intention of staying. So there's a grief circle that occurs there. There's this idea that these individuals, these spirit forms, they don't follow the regular path that humans have to follow. Some say that they follow, the water goddess, the spirit forms, and of course, for those that are Nigerian, we know that one of the things or the symbols of the water goddess is the snake, the Eke, the python snake. So in this book, we're told that her family knows that something is not quite right with their daughter. But because they have a scientific frame of mind, these are scientists and pragmatic people who do not follow the traditional way. They are not willing to really pursue what might be going on with their daughter through the traditional path. Because if they had, maybe they would have gotten news. They would have gotten the information that this child is an Obanje and there's a need to go and find where she hid certain things that tie her to the spirit world. So they just leave the child like that with oh, my child is just weird kind of thing. And of course, the child keeps on growing and growing. The child understands that something is not quite right because she's able to go into a dream state and go into a secret world and see things there. Now, her friends, known as Otu, her spirit friends, known as Otu, are aware of this child called Ada. They communicate with her, they know when she comes into their world, and they're like, oh, this child is brilliant, but they don't really show themselves out. Cracks start appearing when something happens in her family. And also the crack now comes to real light when she travels out for her educational purposes and something traumatic happens to her. At that point, one of those spirit forms mounts her and now takes over her and takes her on a journey basically to lead her to her death. So in this journey, she gets involved in all kinds of relationships that do not bring any joy. It starts well and ends horribly, very horrible men, very mean men. And even if becomes bisexual, plays with the idea of transsexuality, cutting parts of herself and stuff like that. And obviously she goes into self-mutilation as well. But the book explains it away as this is her way of ensuring that she feeds the gods. So anytime she bleeds herself, the spirit forms are extremely happy. So as the book keeps on going on and describing all these things, all these aspects of who she is, the question becomes, will Ada ever get some peace? And in the end, she does, and you have to read the book to find out how she gets the peace. Now, I enjoyed the book. I don't think I have read any book like this before. I think there are books, past, like I should say from a more modern author. Of course, we have books from years ago that actually deal in fantasy, but I don't know, there was a way she wrote this story and it actually brought into question many things that we take for granted. For many people, we've heard of multiple personality. You see it in your fictional works, you see it in your movies, you see it everywhere. And she's asking a question: what if this multiple personality issue that this person might have is not just a result of splintering based on a traumatic event that this person went through, or just because the person is biologically or chemically slated to be that way? What if this person actually is spiritually slated to be that way because she's an Obanji or he's an Obanji, and the person was not meant to stay here for a while? The person came here for an assignment, and for whatever reason, the person is staying on longer than they should have. And so she raises this question here, what about the spiritual aspects of human? These people that we consider mad on the streets, what if there's something spiritually askew? And if we just kind of correct that thing that is spiritually askew, maybe we can actually correct what is going on with this person, because this person probably came on an assignment that has not been completed. And so it's very interesting actually seeing this kind of idea in a novel, particularly a novel by a young author, because these are things that many people of a particular generation have kind of thrown on the side and have refused to address because they want to be modern. And she's kind of dragging us back to okay, let's go back to our goddess and goddesses, the spirit forms, and the fact that the earth is not really the earth. There are different aspects and different things that go on there, So I kind of enjoyed that idea. Now, one of the things I didn't like about the book was her introduction of God into it. Maybe the author brought it in to show that this individual Ada is actually what will I say? She's actually a Christian, she's a Catholic, she has some belief systems, that she grew up in, and that she describes it as an entity called Yeshua, is a spirit form just like the Obanjis and the rest of them, but the way she was making it seem is that this spirit form really doesn't have really any power to create a complete separation, really. So this spirit form, just the power the spirit form has, is just come to the beings that mount and tell them to stop, to calm down. Why are you doing this? La 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 la, So I just felt that there was no real need for that part of the story. I just felt that was not necessary. The story would have been just fine without that Yeshua part. That's what I think. And people will say it's probably because of my own Christian beliefs. I don't know. So I will recommend that you get the book to read it. It's a very nice read. I enjoyed it. It was kind of scary to me, maybe because I am Igbo, and I could see how these things could play out. I could understand the inner concept of what this lady was trying to address. And if you read, if you go and you decide to investigate and just kind of do a quick search about this lady and her story, what is going to hit you is that aspects of this book, it's not just a clean, something from her mind. It's actually fed by things that have happened in her life. Whether she says it's true or not, you can just kind of see it. Anyway, you can pick up the book from Barnes & Nobles, Amazon, havebooks.com, eBay, your public library, or any place you get your books. Till next time, take care and ciao.